Sorry, just before the class starts, I forgot to say it. I got, I just taught the class. I don't think of saying these things during the class. I am a yoga teacher out of work. Obviously, like a lot of people, this is a free class for everybody to enjoy. But if you have not been affected by the isolation, quarantine, shutdown situation, I'd ask you to please make a kind donation or contribution to my PayPal or my Revolut, which is found over to the side. Thank you very much. Namaste, dear Gwit, everybody. Thanks for joining me again for video number 4. I'll assume that you've already done the warm-up videos 1, 2 and 3 also on my Facebook and Instagram. So this is yoga asana. So this will be about a half an hour split into 2 15-minute classes. I've learned a lot about online yoga teaching over the last few days. Pulled my hair out for parts, but it's still here, so it's okay. But now I know 15-minute videos, 15-minute clips, and everything is good. So we're going to start at the top of our mats with the feet parallel. I'll just give you a little. This is not parallel, this is not parallel. Parallel. Yes. And actually we need to keep in mind, this is how we should be walking as well. People who walk like this, you are pulling your hip sockets, the heads of your femurs out of your hip sockets by walking like this. It's poor alignment. And then if you walk like this, you're putting pressure on your knees. So if you want a hip replacement, you walk like this. And if you want a knee replacement, you walk like this. If you want to try and avoid either, you walk like this, like a soldier. Just try and keep the feet straight and parallel. What we have on the left, we mirror on the right. To create anatomical neutral, the anatomy, a neutral anatomy. So there's an even distribution of muscle gain, weight, stretch, whatever, all that kind of stuff. So standing at the top of the mat, we're going to take our hands down either side of the body. We're going to allow the shoulders to relax. We'll take a deep inhalation, taking the hands up into the air. And then we're going to exhale, folding forward. So pushing the bum back as we exhale. The mat is not back far enough. So feeling all of the muscles up the backs of the legs, opening up into the glutes and the lower back. If we're having trouble touching the ground, we can bend the knees, no problem. The more you bend the knees, the more you'll feel the stretch go into your glutes and your lower back. If you straighten out the knees, you'll feel it. So also not to lock the knees back like this. This is bad for joint health. We don't want that. So a little micro bend. Every time we inhale, we are filling the lungs and the abdomen up. And then as we exhale, we release a little deeper down into the fold. And with our next inhalation, we're going to inhale, rolling all the way up to the top. The last thing comes up is our head, hands in the air, exhaling the hands down through the center. That's nice. So, the body works on the principle of muscle memory. Look, there's going to be more chat in this first video now to explain some basic principles. So, the body works on the principle of muscle memory. So we're going to repeat this because when we are doing kind of deep stretches and things like that, the muscles will contract to defend themselves. But if you create the muscle memory of opening out, the muscle will no longer recognize it as a threat. It'll be like, yes, time to relax, open out. So all together, checking that the feet are parallel, hip distance apart, hands down either side of the body. We're going to inhale the hands up into the air. Exhaling, forward fold. A couple of deep breaths here. Every exhalation folding deeper and deeper. Take one more deep inhalation, one more deep exhalation. And then with our next inhalation, we are going to take that right leg the whole way back to the back of the mat, landing it down on the ground as gracefully or as clumsily. No, we want it gracefully as possible, but it might be a bit clumsy at first, but that's okay, that's normal. When you're a beginner, that's normal. It's nothing to be like, oh, I can't do that. You know, it's a work in progress. So, what we want here is our left knee stacked directly above the left ankle. It can even be a little bit behind. What we want to avoid is basically this sort of business where our knee is miles over the ankle to get a little stretch back here, because over time, you know, if you do this once, you'll be fine, you know. But if you create a habit of this sort of practice over time, and this is why it's great to I suppose, acknowledge the modern discoveries of yoga science and people looking into the anatomy and stuff like that, is that over time that will wear down your joints in your knee and your ankle. It will put pressure on them, you know. So we want to support those joints for as long as we can. So the knee directly above the ankle. We have a little stretch here. If we're too close, we're not going to get that, and the knee will be forced. So if we take that back knee back to wherever we feel is good for us, we don't need to be back here trying to do the splits or anything like that, you know. Just so that we have a nice little stretch around here. And we're going to inhale the hands up into the air. Deep breaths, expanding the chest in every direction. The next exhalation, we're going to take the hands down. We're going to take that left leg back. We're going to take the right leg forth. We're going to do the same, so right knee above the ankle. Little stretch along the front of the left. We're going to inhale the hands up. Breathing deeply. Next exhalation, we're going to take the hands down. And we're going to drop the right leg back, and we're going to arrange ourselves into this tabletop position. So, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And what we're going to do is, see where the tops of our middle finger is? We're going to take the back of our hand up, so one full handprint forward. We're going to turn over the toes, and we're going to press into the hands, pushing up for our first downward facing dog. It could be our first downward facing dog ever. Maybe it's just the first one in the class. So there is a bit in this. We do not want to be like this. We want our shoulders back from the wrists as far as they can be. We want our bum up into the air, fingertips pressing down into the mat, palms of the hands pressing into the mat, pushing our bum into the air. So what we're going to do is we're going to straighten one leg, driving the heel down towards the ground as we bend the other leg. Then we can bend the straightened leg and then straighten the bent leg, feeling all of the muscles along the backs of the legs opening up. And then we can have the two of them pushing the bum up into the air, Taking a couple of deep breaths here, pressing into the fingertips, pressing into the palms of the hands, making sure that the heads of the arm bones are integrated into the shoulder sockets. So not like this. If you want to stop and take a look, as a little demonstration, we just don't want this. We don't want to extend out of the shoulders. We want the heads of the arm bones to be back in the shoulder socket. So what we want is maximum distance between the bottom of the ears and the top of the shoulders. We don't want the shoulders to be up beside the ears. We want long neck, distance between the two. So, assuming that you are watching this demonstration, we're going to come down to child pose. Maybe some hardcore people stayed in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Asana, if you prefer the Sanskrit term. Child pose, Balasana. We're going to press into the hands. So we're pushing the bum down towards the heels. Once again, we're not extending the hands out. We're not stretching the arms out. We are pushing the shoulders down away from the ears. We're pushing the heads of the arm bones back into the shoulder socket. We're pushing the bum down towards the heels, down towards the ground, and we're taking deep breaths down into the bottom of the lungs. So we're just going to stay here in child pose for a couple of deep breaths. Filling the lungs right up, expanding the chest in every direction. Pressing into the fingertips, pressing in to the palms of the hands. Pushing the bum down towards the ground. And then I will see you up on all fours in the tabletop position for the next part of the class.